Hey everybody, this is Yarince Pascual Mateo, your host here at Espera Que. Welcome back to Espera Que, everybody. Hope y'all had a week, I would hope. Maybe good, decent, I don't know. It's slowed down a little bit on the news, but then again, if you've been pelted by a fire hose for like weeks on end, I think a fire hose will feel numb by now. So yeah, it's been a while. Starting off, the House passed their own budget. So right now in the U.S. Congress, right now we have the Senate who has their own budget plan, and the House did their own budget plan, but they're both run by Republicans, and both of these budgets are pretty crappy budgets that were pushing the Trump agenda, which is giving tax cuts to the rich. Which, yeah, how is that going to help? Because just to give y'all some information, if we give money to people just living their lives, working hard, we invest it in the economy, we help build businesses, we build our own businesses, we learn and be able to be more useful in our community. But if you just give tax cuts to the rich 1%, they're just going to hoard it while we are suffering. It's not like an opinion. This is a fact that has been proven since the dawn of men. Like, when the king has all the land and all the stuff and all the peasants just get the crumbs, things break down. It's been seen over and over again, and we're getting to this point again. Because these tax cuts, yes, they may have like no taxes on overtime and tips, but that's like 90% of us. That's for the 90% of us, which is crumbs, literal crumbs compared to the rest of us, which is the top 10%, which these tax cuts, if I got my math here, 60% or 2.5 trillion of these tax cuts will be going to the top 10% earners, aka $225,000 yearly, those types of people. The average in the US, I think, is barely 50,000. It could be in the 40s and 30s with how, like, this isn't good. And then 30% more of these tax cuts, which this is like for the top 1%, which is $1.24 trillion just for the 1%. It is just insane, which I'm throwing out big numbers. I understand. Think of it as this way. They're giving like a freebie of what? I believe so the 1%, if you can think it as they are getting a free $62,000. That is more than the average earning of most Americans. And the risk of these tax cuts, which these tax cuts are the amount of revenue the government is taking, they're just cutting off this revenue and making most of that revenue we're getting from our high earners while the rest of us literally get crumbs. And these cuts could affect benefit programs like food stamps, Medicaid, student loans aid, like a lot of benefits that helps 90% of us, that keeps us moving and living and being able to survive in this really crappy economy. They're just threatening to cut it. And yes, Trump has said over and over again he won't touch it, but they're sending threats to the committees to cut billions and billions of different programs they oversee, and most of it is the benefits programs. The Medicaid, if they have to take out like $800 billion, and most of the money in that, so Medicaid and Medicare goes through energy, and they are being forced to cut $800 billion. Medicaid and Medicare takes up how much of that money? Spending overseen by the energy commerce, they oversee 24.6 trillion. Most of it is Medicaid and Medicare. If they are forced to do the 880 billion cuts that they're supposed to do in their budget, then it's going to affect Medicaid and Medicare no matter what they do. Because if they get rid of everything else, they still will have a $600 billion deficit. So these tax cuts are not going to help us. They're only going to enrich the top 10%. Like, literally 90% of the tax cuts are only going to benefit the top 10%. And it's crazy. It's crazy that this is happening, especially when we have Trump, our president, just saying that he won't affect our benefits like Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, student aid, all those programs. But the budget that they push, which this budget is vague, because it's just a framework that they say they're supposed to do these certain cuts, no matter, and they don't have any criteria except that it has to be this fraud or whatever. It's just vague. So this is just a powder keg. If this passes, there's going to be a lot of corruptions and get away with, like, they don't have any constraints, no rules or anything. It's just a blueprint with nothing else. And it's scary because one of the cuts, $880 billion from all the Energy and Commerce Committee do in Congress. So we have our committees. There are different congressmen who are put in those committees to oversee certain like budgets and stuff like that, since Congress has the power of the purse, not the president. Keep that in mind. We're going to go back to that in a bit later on. But when you're trying to force a committee that is in charge of 24.6 trillion, which most of that money is Medicaid and Medicare and just a little bit other, and tell them to cut $880 billion. If they got everything except for those two programs, they're going to still have a $600 billion deficit, and they're going to have to cut, which, yeah, it seems small, but this is going to affect thousands of Americans' care. This is going to hurt a lot of people. And what's going to stop them for cutting more if they get away with this in the beginning? And this isn't something we should trust. So all those who saying the tax cuts are a good idea and yay, no more taxes on overtime, on all that stuff, you're getting played. And all those who say that the rich does work hard for their money and they don't deserve to be punished for being rich. One, most of them just got that way just because they were born lucky. Most of them. There is barely any of them who are self-made. Most of them were just born lucky, had the money, had the education and everything, and just were given it. Like, yeah, there are some jobs that could give you $200,000, but I'm not gonna lie, you got to be really lucky, and most likely it's gonna be given to someone else that isn't you. It, like, people pretend to say that we are in a meritocracy and yell DEI and all this crap, but that's a lie. A lot of those high earners are just born lucky and got there. It's not it. Well, part of it is because of their white skin, obviously, but they're born lucky. And now they're going to get even more money and it's going to hurt us. And I'm not going to lie. Let's not push this narrative that those 1%ers, which most of their wealth came from literal like slavery and genocide, they don't deserve these tax breaks. $62,000, really? Giving them free $62,000 while most of us get like pennies? Nah. And it's ridiculous. So, yeah, those are the tax cuts that we are about to face. So we're going to come up to our first break. Coming up, we got Doge Epstein coming back, and also that weird video that Trump posted today. So, yeah, let's get to that. Well, thank you everybody for listening to Espera Que. Thank you for being here for me. I'm your host, Yarince Pascual Mateo. I hope you are listening to us here in any of our major podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever. Hope y'all have a wonderful day, and hey, let's survive this 2025.
Bye, y'all. Hey, everyone. This is Christian and Jenny from the Coffee and Pandusi Show. We hope you're enjoying Espera Que with Yarince. It's a great show. Also, I want to remind you to join our show as well, Coffee and Pandusi, every Wednesday at 10 o'clock on your favorite podcast platform. And Jenny's show, Two Queers in a Truck.
Absolutely.
Every Wednesday at 11:30.
2025 is our 2025. If I can get it out right without something like that. We've got two wonderful shows that have joined the family of shows that we've done for 6 to 8 seasons. Yeah. And Yarince is a wonderful host, who's a wonderful guest host with coffee, and a wonderful young man with a lot of great vision and insight. Looking forward to seeing his episodes flourish. And as always, thanks for listening. Otherwise, Christian and I would be just talking to ourselves.
That's right, and we do.
we do. Doesn't keep us from doing that now.
That's right. Enjoy the show, y'all. Bye.
Hello, everybody. This is your host, Yarince Pascual Mateo of the show Espera Que. We're going to have a long, crazy year. Welcome back, everybody. So let's spit off some news of whatever. First of all, Doge, a little bit into Doge. They're still ripping up our government for copper wires. Last week, during the weekend, I would believe, Elon sent an email to federal employees in most, if not all agencies, saying they have to reveal 5 things they have worked on in the last week, or else to be judged, or else if they don't respond, they will be terminated. Which, if you can remember 2022, he did the exact same thing when he took over Twitter, and look how Twitter is now. Like, yeah, he paid his way to make Trump win, but Twitter isn't a functioning site. Like, you can just scroll and accidentally see like literal murders and stuff, Nazis and everything like there, just because of this man. Like, he ruined it. Like, I never used it, but it was useful. Now it's impossible to use just because it's just a den of madness. And now that same man who spent $44 billion, mind you, he is so cheap that he literally boasted on Twitter, say he will end world hunger if it's $6 billion. And then I believe it was an NGO or one of the humanitarian aides like, hey, here is a literal plan to do it. Do it. He ran like a little bitch. And then later on, $44 billion on Twitter, which it is devalued to what? 15 billion now? So that man, which don't trust billionaires, that man is now going around our government with his little boys, which they're just children. They're just little kids, just brainwashed to follow whatever this bullcrap, this weirdo who wants to act like he's some super geek, is going around telling actual officials, like veterans, actual people who've been working in this field for years, decades, like this is their lives. They know what they're doing, and telling them that they're in charge and they're supposed to give up like literal all of our private information they are handling, who they are vetted, and those little kids and Elon aren't, which they're not vetted, while they're telling people who are vetted, who are qualified, who actually does this, that they are losing their job just because it says diversity in the title. So Doge is continuing to rip apart, and we're going to keep an eye on that because they are lying. The multiple sources, I believe the New York Times literally went bit by bit, going through all the information that Doge has posted on their website and on Twitter about how their $55 billion of savings is a total utter lie, especially after they showed how bad it was. And even Elon and some of them even admitted some of their mistakes, but they still say it's 55 billion of savings and even increased it to 65 billion of savings when literally $20 billion was errors they made. So lies, and lies. So that's Doge, and truthfully, a lot of us are fed up with this. Like, we saw a few days ago that Jon Stewart cut his hand in anger because of how shitty Doge is. And I'm not going to lie, if you believe in a South of African apartheid billionaire, which when I say apartheid, think racism, because that is, he grew up in that horrible racism of South Africa. Like, they were monsters back then. They were monsters. Like, his father and family profited off of this. His grandfather was literally a Nazi from Canada who moved to South Africa because they were accepting Nazis. This isn't like conspiracy. This is literal fact that you can check. It is wild to trust such a man. So I am happy to see some people are waking up. Next, we got Epstein. So a few days ago, Pam Bondi, I believe, the general attorney of the whole country, just said that she has Epstein's files, like the flight logs, the black book, like everything. All the people who were partaking in what is essentially like a literal child sex ring, which is real, not the Pizzagate shit. This is actual real, and they haven't released it. You have it in your hands, and you haven't released it. And people are asking, some of the Republicans are calling out, like, hey, release it, which is very, very unsettling that no one is talking about it from the White House. And people are trying to not, like, be loud about that. If you have the chance, be loud about that. Because I'm not going to lie, a lot of us want to see that. We want to see all the monsters. Like, with how Diddy's going on, like, his lawyer left. Like, his lawyer defended Osama bin Laden, and he left Diddy. I can't wait for that blowout because there are some horrible people, and I hope they are held accountable. This is the same with Epstein. Like, there are some really bad people that we need to out, and they are powerful people. One of them is the president, which, fun fact, there is more pictures of him with Diddy and Epstein than with his children. So, I mean, it could be a conspiracy that they're protecting the president, but time will tell. I pray there is some brave soul to leak this, but they need to tell the truth because this has been a mystery that it's so long, and it's crazy that he still got into a presidency. Even though there is so much evidence linking him to a literal sex, like a child sex ringleader, like, it's unsettling, and we need the truth. Which, moving on to unsettling, Trump is doing some AI. Which, little background: I was a computer science major at UNCC. I love computers. I love programming, all that stuff. AI. Generative AI, I genuinely do not like it just because we have so much human potential that we should be working more on building our like creativity and engineering with coding instead of giving it to a bunch of mindless little things that are hallucinating things. But that's my opinion. But the Trump presidency has a little bit of an AI backing because of Musk, obviously, but also a lot of the supporters, MAGA supporters, are into AI and get tricked by AI pretty easily, I'm not going to lie, and abuse it to do really disgusting and horrible things. So it's a thing. But, you know, a few weeks back, we talked about how Trump was talking about ethnic cleansing Gaza. And today, on February 26th, he just posted an AI video of Trump Gaza, which is just a literal overloading sensing of seeing just the horrors of them just AI generating and ethnic cleansing while they just have Trump and Bibi Netanyahu shirtless on a beach, a bunch of I think gender fluid men doing some belly dancing on the beaches, which a few of his supporters were like, that's a little woke, buddy. Elon eating hummus, Trump golden statues all over the place, some hotels and resorts, all in AI with kids dancing and money and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're literally building an AI video of you ethnically cleansing innocent people? Like, this is unprecedented. Like, during the Holocaust with the Nazis do the exact same thing. Like, god dang. Which, this is ethnic cleansing. Like, what Trump announced and proposed of literally just removing all the Palestinians and giving them good homes, which that is a bold-faced lie. Like, the man is a con artist. He has been, he is 34 felonies for being a con artist. It is a documented fact ever since. Like, yeah, he had his squeaky clean face on The Apprentice. He was a con man. Trump steaks, Trump casinos. He bankrupted a casino. His realty groups, he lies about them. He discriminates against renters with his properties. He is not someone to trust. And you expect me to believe that the man talking about removing a whole entire ethnic group off of a land and just develop it into hotels while giving them nice homes with no plans is going to deliver on that? You actually believe that? If you believe that, you're insane, or you just don't want to admit how horrible you are, because this is ethnic cleansing. Because forcibly removing people from their homes somewhere else is ethnic cleansing. How do we know? I kind of learned it in U.S. history when Jackson did that to the Native Americans in the Trail of Tears. And I'm not going to lie, after the United States have done a lot of ethnic cleansing on their lands to a lot of people, like natives, blacks, like, oh my gosh, how many like towns were burned down just because some white person had like their feels hurt. Like, it is ridiculous how much I learned. In Florida, like some black people try to vote, and then some white people died while some black people defended their home because they were trying to scare them off and kill them for voting. And when they finally killed the two black men, they just burned down the whole city, the whole black town of Okia. And I can't remember the name. Is Osea or some Okea is a native name in Florida, northern Florida. Ridiculous. That happens. And I can't really trust the man who backs people who wants to ban that history from our history books. So, yeah, not looking good with Gaza right there. So, on that sad and horrible notes, peace be with the Palestinians, but Jesus F. Christ, it sucks here. I can't imagine there. But we're going to go on to our next break and try to lighten up the mood. See you there. Thank you, everybody, for watching our show. Listening if you're on our major podcast platforms on Spotify and Apple. I'm your host, Yarince Pascual Mateo. Thank you so much for enjoying hearing my annoying voice, and hope you'll have a wonderful 2025. It's going to be a long one.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Hey, everyone. I hope you're enjoying Espera Que with Yarince, and I apologize for stumbling over the name. It's the first time that I've talked about the show, and I'm excited to talk about it as we are offering, and you will see on our media pages, we're adding a lot of new shows that have nothing to do with me, but I'm here to talk about it because I'm kind of the company's spokesperson, I guess, or mascot, depending on the day. But anyway, it's a new, exciting, hip new show. I don't know if the kids use the word hip, but I do because I'm old. And anyway, it's getting the Latin Hispanic perspective, but from somebody much younger, from a Gen Z participant that is a young activist in our community. And Yarince's been on many of our shows in the Two Queers and Coffee family. And we look forward to hearing his opinions and thoughts. And I find this show probably one of the most interesting new shows. So check it out. It's available on our family of networks. And just like Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, as normal, all the same bat channels and all the same bat time. Come find us on Wednesday. There's something to watch every week. Anyway, thanks for listening as always, and we'll see you next week.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being at our show today. I hope you had fun watching it on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify or in any major podcast platforms. Thank you for listening to our show. I am your host, Yarince Pascual Mateo, and I hope you'll have a wonderful 2025 because it's going to be a long one. Hey everybody, this is Yarince Pascual Mateo, your host of Espera Que. Well, I hope y'all are having a good start of your 2025 because we're going to have a fun, long year listening to the news. Welcome back, everybody. So, I promised some uplifting news, and I got to say, it's pretty uplifting to see on TikTok, on social media, on news that people are speaking up. People are going to town halls and telling their representatives to do their jobs or get out of the way. I am happy of all the people who are booing and jeering all the idiots who stand there like smug in their face, talking about how Elon and Trump is great while everybody, and I mean everybody, knows That is a bold-faced lie. But we got to talk a little bit of the elephant in the room that some of them voted for this. And it sucks that a lot of our country just took the racism, took the sexism, took all the horribleness and agreed with the con. But now when it's affecting them, they're speaking up. The farmers, there's a lot of farmers who voted for Trump and are all out crying about how these effects, how they bought equipment with funding, with the promise of funding of repayment from the government for doing it. These farmers were giving all the grain that USAID was giving out to the rest of the world because, trust me, we make a lot of grain. We make a crap ton, and we have enough to share. Don't lose your mind. We can do that. And also, it gives the farmers more money. So it's a win-win, I'm not going to lie. But that was cut too. And it's disheartening that it took them to be hurt for them to understand the bad things. And it's really even worse to see some people be like, man, that Gaza thing is unfeasible. It's going to cost us a lot of money and it's going to hurt our bank. I'm like, buddy, the ethnic cleansing is the worst thing. You can worry about the money later. Let's stop it because of the ethnic cleansing. But at the end of the day, they're still humans. And I hope there is still some humanity left in them for them to just be empathetic and like understand that, all those woke liberals who said that their rights are being taken away, I kind of understand and empathize with them. Maybe they were right. I'm not trying to brainwash people. I'm not trying to pick sides. I'm not trying to do a fight. I'm over here trying to tell y'all that we need to speak up. We need to be loud. We need to stick our middle finger in their face and tell them that we are done with this crap. Because Trump promised lower prices. Trump promised better groceries. Trump promised lower eggs. Trump promised some respect of America. J.D. Vance went around the world, which, mind you, Trump can't go around the world because he is a convicted felon. And disrespected our American image by going around being a Christian nationalist, being butthurt that racists were being censored. So our respectability is going down. Prices aren't going down. Like, things are going up. It's little by little, but we're going to feel the pain as more months go on. Because guess what? We're in month 2. Month 2. Holy crap, it's only been 2 months. So I want those who already know to keep on going. Keep on being woke. Keep on shouting. Keep on telling people this is not right. We need to stand up and fight against this. And those who got hurt and finally are understanding, hey, I know a lot of people are going to be mean to you. Suck it up, Buttercup, because you had literally almost a decade to figure this out. And we are in 2025. And he is president again and is showing why he was a bad idea. Accept it. Like, that happens. When you make a mistake, people are going to remember it and call you out for it. When you obviously side with a literal fascist, racist piece of crap and finally broke out of it because it finally affected you, not a lot of people are going to have compassion for you when, because of you, their rights were already taken away. So, yeah, you kind of lost money. Yeah, you're in financial ruin. Well, that's what you get for voting for the guy who promised to take away trans rights. So that's how it works. And at the end of the day, we as humans, we as Americans need to stand up and say, fuck fascism, because this is what it is. This is how it works. They get elected, they rip up the government, and they say, do something. If we don't do something, they're going to keep on going and get bolder. So we need to stand up and speak up. Thank you again for listening to us in Espera Que. I hope that at the ending, we reinvigorated some people, because trust me, we're still in year 1. We're just finishing month 2. We got this. We got to keep on going. It's a marathon. We got to keep on going, because if these 4 years go by and we actually wake up and elect someone actually competent, it will be good. But if we are not ready for the worst scenario, we're not gonna get out of this good. So be safe, be smart. If someone stops you, shut the fuck up, and have a good week. See y'all next week on Thursday. Bye. Thank you for watching Espera Que. Thank you for continuing to listening to my rantings and just mind-numbing views of the news. But I hope to see y'all next week on Thursday, and y'all have a wonderful week. Just be safe and fuck fascists. Sure.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You're good.
Start whenever you want.
Just wanted to start. We are starting with the tax cuts.
Yep, the House budget.
House budget and that whole crap show. After that, House budget. Second phase, we're gonna do Doge, the AAI, and Epstein files. And last phase, we do about how people are rising up. They're talking in the things where they're talking about all the failings of what Trump has done, and also calling out all the bullshit and just motivational end. Okie dokie. So, let's begin. How do I start? Dang it, I forgot it. Cut out a little bit of this.
Okay. All right.
So, dang it, I messed up. Can we rephrase?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just pause and.
So pause, think. So I kept trying to remember the facts. How it is that I can't remember. It's the Energy Committee, or it's one of the committees. They oversee some spending, which is the Medicaid, which is the committee that oversees
energy. Medicare
and
Medicaid goes through energy.
So Medicaid and Medicare goes through energy, and they are being forced to cut $800 billion. Medicaid and Medicare takes up how much of that money? Let me see. I'm trying to remember. Where's that document I had? Sorry, doing this on the fly. Where is it?
What percentage?
Here we go. So spending overseen by the Energy Commerce, they oversee 24.6 trillion. Most of it is Medicaid and Medicare. If they are forced to do the 880 billion cuts that they're supposed to do in their budget, then it's going to affect Medicaid and Medicare no matter what they do, because if they get rid of everything else, they still will have a $600 billion deficit. Yeah. Okay.
You want to restate that?
Yes. So, coming off of this, we will restate. So, these tax cuts are taking off the revenue we get from the people, the taxpayer, and dang it, let me rephrase. So,
good job. All right, pause and come back.
Okay.
Good job. Last segment, talking about pushback happening, buyer's remorse. If you want to talk about the farmers, you can, but they're also concerned about.
Yeah, we got to talk about the farmers.
Yeah. Okay. Just pause and come back. You got about 8 minutes left.
Okay.
Good job.